Also, yesterday I shit my pants to avoid the draft. I also said I eat soy burgers from Hardee's, so now the government thinks I'm a woman. Everything inside of me was boiling upward, from my toes to my meaty fucking calves. All the bad blood was spewing out of my ass in front of the recruitment officer. He didn't even send me home for that, though. No, it's because I'm 100 pounds too fat. Thought this video was about Iran. Oh, yeah, also it's Iran. And if you don't get that right next time, some sheltered communications major on Twitter is gonna cancel us both, okay? Wow, a canceling joke. Who are you, Ricky Gervais?
Wow, a Ricky Gervais joke. Who are you, Twitter?
No. I'm suicidal. Welcome, audience member, to John Lennon. Is he alive? Not sure. Guess we'll find out. Also, Iran. What the fuck happened over there? I don't know. Roll the bullshit. So you might not be aware that your total indoctrinated understanding of Iran and the Middle East is flawed. Firstly, the Middle East does not exist in the East. Actually, it exists in the West, but also the North. The Northwestern Hemisphere, to be exact. As you can see from this map, the Middle East occupies the heartland of North America, the Midwest. The culture there is not very Western, but not in the Western movie sense. No, those movies are depicting the southwest of the North American regions, but also the northernmost areas of the southernmost North American nation, Mexico. You with me? No, not really. And did you know that beating your wife is a sin? Also, not accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior is a sin. And did you know that John Lennon checks off both of these boxes? So, we must logically deduce that when John Lennon died, he had to go to hell. What you might not know is that in 1980, after his death, America and Israel both mourned him by shooting off fireworks at his funeral. This was taken as an act of aggression against the Middle East, who have and always will be one unified, homogeneous group of people. As you may already know, the war was pretty one-sided. The Middle East was torn to shreds, and Soviet Canada, who was in a dick-measuring contest with America at the time, decided to join in and make it a gangbang, leaving the Middle East oozing from all holes. But who could be the savior to these people that just got shoved down the garbage disposal? Yep, the Beatles. Originating from Israel, the Beatles were formed in the mid-60s by future Antichrist John Lennon and platinum-certified musician Ringo Starr. It wasn't until 1967 when the Beatles had done enough acid to actually make a good album. After doing so much acid, John Lennon actually saw God himself, Joe Rogan. Throughout this trip, Joe taught John the ways of chimpanzee-style MMA, and after harnessing his newfound powers and meditating, John then used them to curb stomp his wife, guaranteeing him a free ticket to hell. But that, ladies and gentlemen, was the plan all along. John needed to get into hell because he was on a mission to prevent 9/11. Joe Rogan was the one who first told John that this was his prophesized journey. John would eventually become the final prophet that would unite the three Abrahamic religions under a single unified cause to crusade the godless communists. But before he could do that, he needed to prevent 9/11. You see, it was prophesized that if 9/11 were to happen, the three major nations would go into an all-out war that would destroy all of them, letting the commies and the Nazis take over their land. He needed to prevent this event from happening, so that he could unite America, Israel, and the Middle East under a single banner. Even before the major 20th century events, the three religions have been murdering each other over minor disputes on who is and isn't a prophet for a good 1,000 years. But the Beatles have reached the hearts and minds of many. Their music has no religion. Therefore, it speaks to all religions equally. Now, I'm gonna get a little conspiratorial. The laws of time-space are not adhered to while in hell. Of course, the rest of the Beatles hadn't died yet, so John needed to open a portal in hell to let the other Beatles through. Now, while they were in hell, it would be impossible for us to know exactly what happened. But, in my personal opinion, I believe that the Beatles had limited access to their own timeline. They probably had a certain region of time, probably an hour before the plane was boarded, that they had access to, so that they couldn't mess with any timelines or events besides 9/11. September 11th, 2001. George Harrison boards Flight 11, headed towards the North Tower. Paul McCartney boards Flight 175, headed for the South Tower. Ringo Starr boards Flight 77, headed for the Pentagon. John Lennon boards Flight 93, headed for the White House. The mission is simple. Stop the planes from hitting their designated targets, no matter the cost. They are all equipped with a futuristic communications device known as the iPhone, capable of futuristic, cableless internet technology known as 3G. On said iPhone is an app known as Discord, all powered from hell. If things don't go as planned, they are all strapped with suicide vests, capable of ripping the plane in half. As the planes begin to take off, they all get a message dropped in their shared Discord server. Here are the logs of that chat, recovered from John Lennon's perspective. And, as we all know, on that fateful day, 3 of the 4 planes hit their intended target, with only Flight 93 failing to reach Washington, D.C., hijacked by John Lennon and flown into the ground. John Lennon is presumably alive, living somewhere. Where? Nobody knows. But what we do know is that the rest of the Beatles are up in Soviet Canada, plotting their next move to bring international communism down onto the rest of the world below them, North America. We can only hope that one day the metaphysical wife-beater, known as John Lennon, will come out of hiding and save us from the Canadians. I hope this video clears up any misinformation about the Iran situation. You know, I'm glad that war has probably been avoided. I mean, yeah, America bombed an Iraqi airport, and Iran most likely shot down a civilian plane, and the Iranian nuclear deal is most definitely never coming back. But, in the end, at least Israel is happy. Thank you for watching.